Okay, we might as well make a start. Just want to thank you very much everyone for taking the time to register for our webinar series number 2, Perfecting Your INMOULD Graphic Offering. The first webinar we had, number 1, was an exciting webinar and was about how to apply graphics with confidence. So that was all about our new training portal that we've got online. So feel free to watch the recording on that new portal that was set up for training on both INMOULD and post-mold graphics. So today, presenting in this webinar is obviously going to be myself. I'm Jim Crawshaw from PSI Brand, General Manager here, and I also have pleased to have Walter Bernazzi, Europe and UK representative. Thank you, Walter, for joining me in this webinar today, your time.
Yeah, it's today over here in Europe, Jim. A little bit more later over in New Zealand. Thanks to all attendees to spend some time in joining us, and I hope the webinar will be worth for everybody. I'm in the business since '95 in the business of rotomolding, and joining PSI Brand for all over 10 years. And we will try to help you, we will try to assist you in getting some more information about INMOULD graphic today. What we will do in these 30 minutes, we will compare all the different INMOULD types we got. We got different INMOULD types. We did start with the original one, but during the time we did increase our range in order to service much more better our customer. We will share the secrets of the ZEDI project, which was quite an ambitious project for a company who just started the business into the graphic system with this project. And Jim will explain to you what we have done. We will help you to understand the INMOULD popular feature with some hacking trips, and we will try to answer any question you will get. In order to put question, please use the chat at the bottom of the screen. You will see there is a chat session where you can put the question there. To you, Jim.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much. So yeah, really looking forward to the end of the slides where we can do an actual live demonstration using a mold that we've got here in front of me. So I guess just a bit about PSI Brand, just for those of you who don't know us perhaps quite as well as some others. Our background is rotational molding. So it actually goes back to my father, Steve, who's the director of the company, starting the rotational molding in his garage, which went on to develop an agricultural feeding business, develop feeders for agricultural industry, such as calf feeders, horse feeders, pig feeders, etc. And that's still operating today under the name Stallion Plastics, 2.5 hours south of here. So I grew up in that, on the machines as well. So very used to getting up on cold mornings and working in front of the nice warm roto ovens. So we started with INMOULD Original in year 2000. So this is something that Steve had developed. He was kind of tired of the inadequate systems that were out there, engraving plates and decals and other systems. So yeah, we went on to develop, and obviously by year 2000, we had a system which we were confident to share with the rest of the world. So now we have INMOULD and post-mold graphic systems. We offer very sharp imagery and barcoding, now RFID tracking systems as well. And we also offer the surface enhancer and permanent paint products. So if you haven't heard about them, let us know. But what we're most famous for really is the smallest minimum order quantities, or MOQs, and the fastest lead times anywhere in the world, and the easiest application. So if any of these unique points you are not finding, you need to let us know. So yeah, I'll move right on and start taking you through the different graphic types. So starting off, I'm just showing here on our slide the variable for variables. We appreciate the many variables there are in rotational molding, and there's hardly two products the same. And so asking for graphics to perform in all those different environments, we've recognized over the years that we need to offer different constructions. So we started with INMOULD Original, and then we have now what we call our INMOULD Extreme, two different graphic types. And the best way to tell these apart is the film that they are constructed of. The INMOULD Original is a natural white film, and the INMOULD Extreme is a natural transparent or clear material that molds into your part and disappears during the molding process. So it gives you some really nice design aspects, such as you can get really fine detail on a clear background. It has really high flame resistance and also has UVI built into the actual formula. So it has some really nice spin-offs there. Of course, we've got the post-mold graphics, the heat transfer type. Now these are used in areas where perhaps in mold you cannot get inside the mold, or it's too dangerous to, or perhaps you've got product in stock and your customer is asking you to brand that for you. So that's where post molds fit. I'll put vinyl decals in there just in case you didn't know we do offer vinyl decals. In fact, we have a few customers using it in what we call like an adhesive that's designed to stick to low energy surfaces such as plastics. Yes, you can still feel an edge. Yes, you can still chip it off, but it is much better than your average bumper sticker. So moving on, the different INMOULD variables. So we're talking about INMOULD Original and INMOULD Extreme here. And when we talk about the design, we have what we call either our clear cut or our solid background design. And the clear cut is where we might cut away parts of the graphic. So the graphic might be composed of several parts, such as letters within a word. And a solid background is where it's one piece. You can apply the graphic down as one piece. Doesn't need any application tape. And then we talk about our finishes. So we have gloss and satin finishes. We can see more on a blog on a website on that. We also offer a matte finish used mostly in military type applications where they really want to dull down and stop any light ping. Then we have the different adhesive systems as well. So we have our standard adhesive, which is available in several strengths. And then we have our PTAC, peel-off adhesive system. And during the demonstration at the end, I will show the real key differences between those two systems. So now I'm just going to run through the case study, which we call the ZEDI Smart Feeder. And it's interesting, these, as Walter mentioned at the start, this customer had never used graphics before. And they had this project here. It's what they call a smart feeder. It's for feeding cows or calves. And it has RFID built into it. So when the calf comes up, you can read the tags on their ears and tells it how much it's feeding. But anyway, this is about molding the tank and about the graphics that went on it. So I'm just going to share this little case study of these operators here. So we went in, and these guys have never used graphics, as I mentioned. So using just a little simple training graphics, we got each one of the molders to apply graphics to an area in the mold, which is effectively a hidden area. It wasn't going to show. I think it's where a motor is contained. So these are type 2 graphics, INMOULD Original type 2. So here the team are all rolling the graphics onto the mold. They're each having a turn, and they're peeling off the application tape to leave the graphic portion on the mold. So yeah, they didn't leave anyone out. Everyone got a turn. So here, again, they're rolling over the graphic, make sure it has good adhesion to the mold. And then you'll see them peel away the clear application tape. And then just give it, after he's peeled off the tape, he'll just give it one more final roll. So you can see 4 of the operators all had a turn to apply them. Then we went straight into applying the full-size graphic. And this is quite a large graphic. It was around 900 by 250 millimeters. So you can see when he takes the white paper backing off, just how big that graphic is. So quite a large graphic. You could say quite a tricky graphic to apply if you hadn't had any training at all. But these guys, all they've done is trained with those little small graphics. So here he's aligning the graphic onto the mold, then using the rubber-faced roller, he's working from the center of the graphic outwards just to avoid trapping any air bubbles. You can see him moving across the letters just to expel all the air and make sure it has good adhesion with the mold. Now, I had some quite fine text on the bottom there that you can see I'm rolling over now. So he gives it all a good roll before he peels off the clear application tape. So it was quite an exciting project for them, as they'd never applied the graphics. So now they're peeling off the clear application tape. Now, ideally, you should peel this hard back against the graphic, and that way it just reduces any chance of pulling off any parts of the graphic with it. So he's going very gently. Also got a nice polished seal mold here, which helps with the application as well. So now he just gives it one more final roll, and this is just to make sure the graphic has full adhesion with the part. With the mold. And then they'll go straight in. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so what he's doing here is he's found a trapped air bubble. And when you find a trapped air bubble like that, it's best to lance it with a sharp knife and just expel the air like he's doing here with his thumb. If he had left that, that would have resulted in perhaps a small crater in the graphic. So we're loading the material in here, and what you might notice, and I'll just pause it for a second, if I can. I'll wait till I get to a better side. You'll notice on the graphic on the right-hand side, there's a lot of white smeary stuff. What we did is we applied surface enhancer over that graphic. Now that's something that we'd recommend if there's large amounts of powder and there's potential chance of material erosion. So we thought we'd apply surface enhancer to that side just to see if we had any issues, if that would help. And thankfully we didn't have any issues. So now they're closing up the mold. And just due to the wall sections within that mold, I don't think we'd have had any problems with material erosion anyway. But if you're getting large water tanks or something like that, where you've got a lot of powder tumbling around, there's a chance that it can potentially trip on the graphics. So it's good to protect them. So this very first molding is a brand new tool. First time they've used graphics, there's a lot of firsts happening, and we came out with a beautiful result. So yeah, the operators were surprised, they were pleased, and quite delighted with the result, understandably. So we just go in for a close-up look. So that's type 2 INMOULD original graphics. So yeah, an awesome project, and I guess what it really led us to is, hey, if we can spend that little bit of training with a team that's never used graphics before and come away with such a beautiful result, how can we copy and paste that globally? Which is why we have moved now to our virtual masterclasses and online training platform, just to help build that confidence. So now I'm just going to run through some of the typical challenges, and straight after this we'll move straight into our live demonstration. So what I'm showing on the slide now is some of the typical challenges you find with INMOULD graphics. And so the one at the very top here is trapped air or pinholes on the perimeter of the graphic. You'll see that sort of thing happening. Now what that is what we saw in the ZD video. If we don't lance and expel any trapped air bubbles, you will see these sort of results. So just take time next time to apply carefully from the center of the graphic outwards to the edges to avoid trapping air. The second one I'm showing there is pock marks in the surface. So these are like small craters, and these could be the size of a pinhead to the size of a end of a ballpoint pen. And or the end of your finger. So this is really usually due to insufficient mold cleaning. So there's some residue left on the mold, whether it be adhesive or some other foreign material. So our solution there is cleaning every cycle. So just make sure you're spraying the mold, scraping off that residue and polishing it on every cycle. So I'll show that in our live demonstration as well. Surface cracking down the bottom, that's our third problem we're showing on this, or challenge rather, we're showing on this page. Surface cracking is really due to the graphics being stretched. So particularly on INMOULD Original and especially on warm molds, when you're putting the graphic on, you've got to take care not to stretch it from one point to the next. So just rolling, using less pressure, and also perhaps adding a radius to your design. If you were to have a sharp point in a particular part of the design, perhaps add a small radius to it just to avoid causing that little weak point. Some other typical challenges: air bubble behind the graphic or incomplete bond. So shown in that top graphic, what we're looking at here is the surface of a graphic at the edge, and you're seeing a bit of a raised bubble. And this again is often due to pressure caused by during application using a burnishing tool or using some hard object which is destroying the properties of the graphic. You also got to look for signs of contamination such as adhesive or release agent. Could be sealing the back of the graphic if you're applying these type of things after the graphic's been applied to the mold. And just the other one there is graphic pieces not coming off with the tape. This is really specifically with type 2 graphics, and it's a well-known challenge. And what you'll see in that picture on the right is you'll see the white release paper bench side down, and they're trying to peel the graphic away by just lifting the tape. That is not the correct way to remove these type of graphics from the backing paper. The solution really is to apply pressure to the tape. So just use your roller on a flat bench, give it a quick roll, flip it over with the paper side to the top, and peel it away sharply from the tape, as you can see in that image right at the bottom there. I'll show this as well in our demonstration in a few seconds. So the most typical challenge, period, is the partial molding or complete failure. Oh no, this is bad. So this is due to, is really a result of poor adhesion to the mold. Okay, so there's a number of reasons why this might happen. Number one is remove the mold release is an absolute must, and a quick way to check that there's mold release on the mold anywhere the graphics to be applied is by doing the tape test, and I'm going to show you that in just a few seconds. Number two is, have you removed the adhesive residue? So you get some adhesive residue build up from graphic to graphic, from cycle to cycle. Make sure you are cleaning every cycle just to avoid any residue build up. Do not preload for the following day. So you'll get a mold obviously cooling and from being hot. So if you were to apply graphic the night before for the following day, always re-roll it prior to loading with material on the following day. So it's a big no-no, because the graphics will essentially start losing adhesion overnight. Reduce rotation speed. So I talked a little bit like that about that in the ZD application. So they didn't have a problem with rotation and tumbling of powder, but might be necessary if you've got a really large molding. And the next one is apply to a recessed area. So we've had some customers that have applied a graphic to a recessed area in the mold. Only needs to be 1 millimeter or less, creating a little pocket for the graphic to essentially sit into. So then the graphic or the powder can skim over the graphic during the molding. Apply surface enhance to the reverse side. So we saw that again in the ZD video case study. Is definitely a good option if you're having problems with graphics being dislodged. And 7 is another really important one, is polish the surface of your mold. So essentially where your graphic has been applied, and we've tried to show that in that little demonstration or pictogram down the bottom of the slide, showing a graphic trying to sit on perhaps what we might call a shot peen surface. So it's trying to sit on all those mountaintops. If you just give that a light sand with something like a 500 or 1000 grit sandpaper, you create a greater surface area for the graphic to sit on. Is there anything I'm missing that, Walter, that'll make sense? Just yell out if I'm missing anything.
Well, I believe we cover more or less everything, and I believe everybody got the chance right now to see live what the best practice to apply graphics directly on the mold.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right. So we might as well move straight in. So now I'm going to go live. So I'm just going to change my camera here and put it onto this mold that I've got in front of me, and show you really what I've been talking about. So let me just do that and stop my share, and hopefully you can all see this. And to get a really good view of this, I recommend you go to the top of your screen and hit speaker view, and that'll just make obviously my screen come up. Not that I don't want you to see Walter, he's a great guy, but if we can just focus on the application here. So first up, we talked about preparing the mold ready. So what I've done on this side here is I've actually applied some release agent to it, and I'm going to show you just exactly what happens when you do the tape test. So here I've just got some paper masking tape, and I'm peeling a bit off, and then I'm applying it onto the mold like this, and you can see it doesn't even want to stick there. You know, put it down as best I can. It might look good, but yeah, it just really peels off really simply. You know, no effort at all, hardly any noise. What we're wanting to listen to or hear and see is some sucking noise from the tape, and see that it's, you know, it's quite hard to pull off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to clean this off with a bit of IPA or isopropyl alcohol. You can use your release agent remover, whatever you use, but I find this works really well. So I'm just going to give this good clean, good scrub in the area. Make sure that we've brought all that release agent off. So I'm pretty confident we've got most of it there. And I'm just going to use another dry rag just to make sure our surface is nice and dry. So I'm just going to give that a quick tape test. And if I'm still not getting good results, I'll be redoing this. So sticking it down, and just listen carefully. I'll try and be really quiet. So that's the kind of noise I want you to hear. I hope that came across okay. So we're sticking it onto the mold nice and firmly, rubbing it. And you can hear that distinct sucking noise when you're pulling it off. So that's what you want to be listening for, and that's how you want to be preparing the mold. Okay, next up, I'm going to run through the graphic applications for you. So starting off, I'm going to start off with the type 2 INMOULD original. This is the type where, you know, we talked about not peeling the tape straight up. We talked about flipping it over this way. So what I'm going to do is just give it a quick roll for a start. So I'm rolling over this tape because really, especially if I've been in storage for a long time, that tape can tend to separate from the graphics. So it's just strong enough to hold it in place while we transfer it onto the mold. So you can see here I've got the tape side down on a flat surface, and I'm peeling away the white anti-stick paper like this. Okay, so you can scatter your paper. You've got your graphic here ready to apply to the mold. So I'm going to apply it, try and get it around like this way here so you can see it. So I'm just going to gently get that all in place. Rolling to the center, to the outsides. Rolling gently for a start so it's all got really good adhesion. And going to the edge, getting my tape away, like so. And then just giving it one more final roll, like this here, just to make sure it's got great adhesion to the mold. So that graphic's good to go. That one we actually molded a smaller version So this is it here on the finished part. Not going to go through the whole molding process now with you. So next up, I'm going to take you on to our Type 5 or our INMOULD Extreme. This one here is known as a Viking logo graphic. So these ones very simple, solid background. So I'm taking off the white anti-stick paper here, and we've got the graphic here ready to apply to the mold. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to line it onto the mold, and then the best process is just to run your finger through the center of the graphic like this, and then using a squeegee, a little 100mm squeegee like this here, soft plastic squeegee, often used by songwriters. I'm then just squeegeeing all the air out. You can actually see through the graphic if you've trapped any air. Simple as that. So that's that graphic done. Now I'm going to apply a similar graphic to that. It's called Type 5B, so it's an extreme graphic, but it has the PTAC adhesive on it. And just a little tip I'm going to show you here is if you're getting problems with air bubbles or having problems with alignment, there's a really cool tip that I want to show you that you can use. And that's using a simple ingredient called water. So just make sure it's spraying. You spray a really light mist onto your mold like this here. And we're not talking much. And then peeling the graphic off the transfer, and then applying it onto the mold. And you can see here it's slipping around, so the adhesive isn't causing it to stay in one place. And that allows you to align it just perfectly. So the other cool factor about it is now when I squeegee over the graphic, all the air comes out with the water. So it lessens your chances of trapping air bubbles as well. So this is a really popular method for users that are using really large graphics that might have a really large surface area. I'm just using an absorbent cloth here just to clean the water away. So those are the graphics ready good to go, ready to go and get molded. So I'm not going through the molding process now with you. But what I am going to show you is some graphics which we had done just prior in our little lab machine. So these are the same graphics. We've got the Viking one here with our standard adhesive, and we've got the grit salt one down the base here with our PTAC adhesive. So I'm just going to show you how we go about cleaning these. So with the PTAC, as we mentioned, it's a peel-off adhesive system. So I'm finding a corner, and then I'm just peeling the adhesive off like this here. Left a little bit at the top, so it comes away as one piece. So very easy. That is completely clean. There's no adhesive left on there at all. Very quick and easy process. So with the Viking one, we've got the standard adhesive. Now we need to clean that off. So what I'm going to use here is our graphic adhesive remover, and just show you how well it works. So I'm just going to give it a quick spray over the surface here. Now spray and scrape, I'm showing the spray and scrape method, which is very fast, very effective. I'm giving it around about 10-20 seconds to let it activate. And what you actually notice, you'll notice the adhesive start to globule. You know, you start, and just using a thin or a sharp plastic squeegee again, I'm just going to scrape that adhesive straight off. So you can work, you just work across like this. You can see it, I'm trying to show it on the camera here, maybe you can see a bit of goo, and then just depositing it on a throwaway rag like this here. So I'm scraping right over the graphic, and that just really quickly just pulls off all the adhesive. Give it a good scrape. And then just folding my rag over, so I've got a nice clean side, and then just pulling, you know, the balance of that adhesive off and just polishing it so it's nice and clean. So again, that is the fastest and recommended process for cleaning, using, you know, cleaning our standard adhesives. So that's pretty much the guts of it. Was there anything that I missed out of that, Walter, that you could see?
I believe, Jim, you cover all what we have to say. I believe there are some questions already raising from the attendees, so we will answer at the end of the presentation.
Very good. Okay, perfect. Yeah, well, I see we're coming up 30 minutes, so we probably should keep moving. So if I'll now just shift back to where we were before. And we can conclude. Okay, I'll let you take it from here, Walter.
Yeah, so you have seen the live application regarding the three types of graphic we do offer. I believe you understand that it's quite simple. What are the popular over period regarding our graphics? That they are peel and stick. So the application of the graphic is really the easiest by far. Opaque, white and red with not pink. If we got some question time to time from our customers, and for instance on where is it, on light color, on when you got the application, they will not fade, so it will result as a final result exactly the same as your customer Pantone or whatever it was required. Apply twice, so you can remove and reapply if misaligned. And I believe Jim showed you with the water mist how better to apply it. Chip free, will not chip as much. Shelf life, absolutely unlimited. We have no problem regarding shelf life when you order maybe a few thousand of graphics, and you leave it on shelf for some times, maybe over years or something. Mold temperature, hot or cold application. We have no issues in terms of application on hot mold or cold mold. Self-adhesive, no spray on adhesive. We don't need any adhesive to be sprayed on the mold as the adhesive is already included in the graphic itself. Colors, full color process, CMYK. You can have whatever sort of color your customer is asking as soon as you are providing a Pantone reference to us or a sample of what you need. Minimum order quantity, one ship minimum order quantity. I mean, we do offer this sort of service to our customer in order to give a chance to follow the question from our customers. Lead time, 10 days anywhere. We promise the fastest. I mean, in 10 days from your approval, you can get your graphics. So it's, I believe, the fastest delivery period for graphics. Competitive, we are competitive because you can ask a free setup cost on the first order. So it's not bad, even if you got a free setup cost because you have registered to this seminar. And customized, sorry, but on my graphic, ask for free sample for prototyping. Then I believe we cover plenty of points over here. Jim, I leave it to you.
Excellent, thank you very much. Yeah, just before we go on to the few questions, a few questions come in, but I just want to, I guess, conclude with some takeaway points. And I really just want to reiterate that you do have variable solutions. So there's more than one that may suit you. So feel free to ask us for samples and talk to us about what we might recommend for your particular application. Get certified. So I mentioned at the start that we have the training portal on there now. You go to pscybrand.com/get certified. To get on there, there's training modules for each of the graphics, videos and tutorials. Anyone can join anytime and answer the short multi-choice questions in each module to move on and become certified. Download the troubleshoot guides, or what we call the PCPAs. So we've gone over a few today, and you go to our resources section and download these. Encourage you to do them, print them off, laminate them, put them in clear files, so you've got them readily available for your team to quickly turn to. So identify the POPs, which Walter which he discussed just now and went over. identify which popular features you are possibly missing out on and not receiving from us, and let's have a talk about how we can help you optimize them. We also want to mention that we've got a post-mold webinar that's coming up next, hopefully in around a month's time. So that'll be dedicated to our post-mold heat transfer systems. And yeah, just encourage you as also just to follow us on our channels that we're on there, Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm always updating these with you know, where we're at, where we're developing next, and what's the news, just to keep up to date with where we're at. So before we conclude, let's just hit up any questions. Any questions that we need to address there, Walter?
Yes, Jim, I believe we got a couple of questions over here from Christoph regarding barcodes. Is it possible to have transparent background within lines like barcodes, or will it be challenging to apply this on the mold?
Absolutely possible, and we've already done it, and the best way to do it is by using our extreme system. So that way you can print the barcode onto a transparent film and apply it as one piece. So there's no chance of losing any of the detail. Do I understand that question correctly?
Yeah, I think that was the topic. Yes, we got another question from John. Hello, any problem placing on a texture surface? Okay.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just go back to that challenge. I think at one of the challenges we talked about is you know, potentially with shot peen surfaces and some sandblasted surfaces, especially if it's a brand new mold. You'll have very sharp, if you like, mountains. If you put them under a microscope and looked at that texture, it'll be very sharp. After you've done a number of moldings with, you know, powder tumbling around, that can tend to be dulled down. But if you're wanting to use graphics in that arena, I really suggest that you, you know, polish that area, and even just by using 500 or 1000 grit sandpaper, lightly polish that area, and you'll find you'll get on much, much better. So I trust that helps.
Yes, then we got Eddie over here, which is asking for adhesive remover citron-based. What the recommended alternative available in Europe? Because yes, in Europe we have not available the graphic adhesive remover coming from PSI directly, but we are in contact with some distribution company who are distributing some remover, and more than happy to give you some information about the reference according to the location of your company, whether you are in Holland or in Italy or in Spain or wherever. Just send us an email.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Walter. Yeah, we have sourced tried suitable different types of removers, and we can say we generally have a solution for wherever you are. So just talk to us and we'll help you.
Yeah, then another recommendation from Eddie, recommend not to preload graphics when mold is stored. I believe we mentioned in the most popular point that we can use our graphic on cold mold and hot molds. That's a good point over here, because on cold mold, maybe we can get some issues in the morning, especially if the cold outside, if the weather outside is pretty cold.
Absolutely. Yeah, I visited a customer just a few weeks back who was preloading his molds for the following day's cycle. He wasn't having any problems, but I was seriously alarmed, and he said, no, it's okay. When I go to the mold in the morning, I just re-roll them all and then load my material, and he goes forward. So there you go.
Yeah, I believe it's, I don't see any, if I don't miss any question, I don't think there is any more question over here from our attendees. I believe we will cover in the next webinar, which will be announced in a week or so, the post-mold graphic, the paint, and some other product we launched on the market during the last year, the RFID system, and some other issues. So yes, I believe that's all.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, thank you very much again, Wolf, for helping us with the webinar today. We thank everyone else for attending as well. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you for your support. Stay tuned, and we look forward to connecting with you again.
Bye to everybody.